Hi.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook, and today we have a good time in store. I have read a lot of thrillers in my life, especially over the last year. Thrillers have really been my go-to. They have been the thing to get me out of a reading slump. I have been through a lot of them over the last year, and over that year I have really figured out what makes my perfect storm when it comes to a thriller. I personally love when a book is really suspenseful. Like, I want to be on the edge of my seat, white knuckling it. I love when a book is specifically psychologically thrilling. Like, I want to be questioning my sanity. I want to be unsure of what is real, if I can even trust the narrator, if this story is even the real story. I love just not knowing what the heck is going on. I love when the entire thing feels like a fever dream. That is piece number one. Piece number two, and what really, really takes a thriller to the next level for me, is when it has some sort of paranormal or supernatural element sprinkled into it, even if that's not really what it is. If it gives those vibes, or it hints at those vibes, or throughout the book you start to think, is that what's going on here? Anything that's like in the night, creepy, giving you jump scares, not being able to make out something in the dark, not knowing what you're seeing, I love that. And really just the final piece that I feel like, again, just makes a thriller like that much better, is when there are kind of two perspectives going on, or two different timelines, or just somehow you're jumping from the main story to a different piece, something else that's breaking it up, and you don't really understand how the two things relate, and then you all like see it all kind of come together at the end. That makes my perfect thriller, and they're kind of hard to come by. Like, I enjoy so many, but when it's all of those things, I just eat it up. And I have to tell you, this book that I read yesterday, literally all in one day, because I could not stop, it is all of those things, and frankly, it's the best one I've ever read. It is my new favorite thriller. I think I'm going to be thinking about it for a very long time. I wanted to just go ahead and film this video today because I knew I was just gonna keep thinking about it. I feel like if I come back to it in a week, I'm gonna have so many more thoughts, because it's just one of those books that leaves you with kind of more questions than it does answers, which is another thing that I really love. Anyways, rambling for 10 minutes. It is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer. I have been recommended this book by a whole lot of people here on YouTube, on my Instagram. I've gotten several DMs, and then just in my algorithm, I think, you know, it's caught on to, this is the type of book I like, and truly it encompasses all of those things. This book is so creepy. It is just creepy through and through. If you want to be freaked out, be kept up at night, if you want to stay thinking and maybe have a nightmare or two, this is really going to be the one for you. This is going to be so good in the fall, but I don't care. I read it smack in the spring, and I might have to return to it in the fall, honestly, and I need to get the paperback of it, because it's one that I think, like, I just need to go back, reread it all, highlight things, tab things, try to put together the pieces of what the heck this was. Basically, I'm gonna do a spoiler-free little explanation of the book, and then I am gonna have to get into spoilers, because I do need to talk about this. I need those of you that have read it to, I don't know, tell me what you think in the comments, because there are so many different theories surrounding this book, and it actually started out as a story on a Reddit, I believe. I think the author kind of was publishing it in parts on Reddit, and even now there's a whole Reddit group that is still discussing theories and trying to piece together what happened in this book. But anyways, let me get to it. This story follows this main character named Eve. Her and her partner Charlie have just purchased this home. I believe it's in like the Pacific Northwest. All that matters is this is a very old home in the middle of nowhere. It is a very kind of Victorian style home. Kind of think the home in American Horror Stories. It's got, you know, multiple floors, a whole lot of rooms. We've got attics, we've got basements, we've got stained glass. There's just a lot of features that make this a very cool old home. And her and her partner have moved in. They plan to fix it up, eventually flip it. But they've only been there for a little while, and they are just starting to get settled in, starting their renovations, and basically the book opens up right away with somebody knocking at their door, and Eve is there alone waiting for Charlie to get home. She answers the door, and it is this family. And the man, the father of the family, says, "Hi, I know this is so random and a little weird, but I used to live here. I grew up in this house. I'm in town with my family, and I was just wondering if there would be any way that we could come inside and I could just show them around just for a few minutes. Is that okay with you? To which Eve should have immediately said, hell no, as any sane woman would that is home alone. It's funny, I actually have this vivid memory of me being a young child and exactly this happening, an elderly couple knocking on my door and asking if they could look around because they used to live there, and my parents let them, and then they proceeded to walk the whole property and tell us all about living there and looking at all the rooms. And you know, it is Texas, it is a small town, Southern hospitality, I don't know, times have changed. But anyways, in this case, in this story, Eve definitely should not have been okay with it. She isn't. She's very uneasy, but she is a people pleaser to a fault, and that is a big part of Eve and her story, in this story, and her character. She finds it very hard to say no. She finds it very hard to stand up for herself, and that's where her partner Charlie really helps her and stands up for her. But Eve is currently here alone. So after a little bit of back and forth, she ends up letting the family come in and look around, and very quickly things start to get very, very weird. Lots of different quirky personalities within this family, some young children that are very odd. It's just very eerie. Right away, it is eerie. It feels like something is not quite right, but you can't figure out what it is. And then from there, long story short, the family does not end up leaving after a few minutes. You kind of have a situation where the daughter kind of runs off and she's hiding, and then you have some bad weather at play, so they get kind of stuck there, and now Eve is stuck with this family and having to kind of spend the evening with them. And so many things start to unfold. Like I kind of hinted at, you start to witness some paranormal sort of elements, a lot of, you know, going into the basement and seeing things that you're not sure if they're real or not, just creepy moments. I still don't totally know what this book was. The father in the story, he is kind of the main concern, I would say. Obviously he used to live here, but you can tell that he's not telling you everything, and there's a lot more to him and to this story and to this house. There's some old rumors about this house that you learn very quickly, that just his sister kind of went a little crazy in the house, and there have been times where people are in the house and things seem to change, like they're walking through it and rooms disappear, or they're in a different spot, or like a window was stained glass and now it's not, and it's just like nobody can quite explain what is going on. So a whole lot of that. Also, as the story is going on, you're present day, you're hearing from Eve, you're also getting these little snippets thrown in, like every other chapter, every kind of few chapters, where it's old like files. It's kind of like things that seem so random. It's old snippets from like radio shows, and it kind of seems like true crime documentaries, and it's like some definitions of things, or some, you know, posts pulled from like a Reddit profile, or you kind of jump to a scene where somebody's being interviewed by a cop in this station, and it feels so random, and it feels like it doesn't make sense, and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? Because some of it goes on for a long time, and by the end of it, you understand why it all comes together, but at the same time, you totally don't, because it is one of those books that is just a total mindfuck. You finish it, and you're sitting there with the book going, sorry, what happened? What is this? Like, you're just gaslit time and time and time again, and then you're just left out to dry. That's pretty much this kind of story. But let me just tell you, it was creepy, it was scary, it had everything that I wanted, and I'm gonna be thinking about it for so long. Like I said, I feel like I need to reread it. If you like all of these things that I've talked about, just the concept alone, I love how simple it was. I love, so simple yet so crazy and so complicated. I loved that it just starts out right away, family knocking on the door. Hi, we used to live here. Can we come in? And it just gets right into it, and you just start to feel so claustrophobic so quickly. Like, that is the perfect word to describe this book. It is claustrophobic. You just start to get so frustrated. Like, this family comes in and it's like, they won't leave, get them out of here. And you start to just have these moments where your heart is racing, and she's kind of thinking things are happening, or thinking that she heard things, or thinking she's seeing things, and everyone around her is like, what are you talking about? And you feel like you slowly start to go crazy with Eve. It was very good. If you were a thriller girl, if you like, this type of book, I 1000% recommend reading it. I listened to it on audio as well, and the audiobook was so good, especially these little snippets that I'm talking about that were like radio shows and interviews. It was a very cinematic sort of listening experience with a lot of sound effects, and the voices were very good. There's a lot of creepy voices in this story that really kind of kick up the experience an extra notch. So highly recommend. At this point, if you're gonna read it, I would exit and then come back, because I do want to talk a little bit more. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, and you could tell I'm like here just like dying to spit it out, but I don't want to spoil it for those of you that are gonna read it. So now is your fair warning. Come back after you've read it if you're still here. Let's talk about it. From the jump, Thomas, he shows up right away. I mean, like I said before, every member of this family has a bit of a quirk to them, and I kind of feel like I can't trust any of them, and they all are weird. But Thomas is definitely, you know, the leader of the group. He's leading this pack. He's the one that's kind of controlling what's going on, controlling the narrative, and he is slick. The way that you just want to trust him, it's like, oh, just come in and look around. It's you and your sweet little family. But as soon as the daughter, what's her name? Jenny? Is her name Jenny? The daughter. It doesn't matter. As soon as she disappears, as soon as she goes and starts hiding, and it's like, oh, we're not concerned where she is. She'll come out. Don't worry about it. The best thing we can do is leave her. Hi, I'm gonna need you to actually exit. I'm gonna need you to leave my property, and I will call the fire department and they will retrieve your daughter. Like, what are we doing? Something that I don't understand still about the family. I'm gonna be all over the place right now with an entire ramble, because there's no rhyme or reason to this book, and I don't know how to speak about it. But we learned that Thomas obviously doesn't seem to be human. You kind of hear, you know, that he was here before the house was here, and he's like one of the old gods. And I've watched a few videos of people kind of talking about this and talking about their theories, and I guess it's mentioned that he's like one of the original gods or old gods. I think he's maybe a demon of sorts. But what I still don't understand is, like, I don't really know what his purpose is, because my personal feeling and theory is I don't think his family is really his family. I almost kind of think that they're all puppets in his game, and he has kind of collected them and is manipulating them kind of in the same way he ends up doing with Eve, and then possibly his sister Alice, like, who even freaking knows? I kind of feel like he's found these people, kind of kidnapped them, made them think that they're his family, because the wife, you know, you find out whatever, that she was struggling, and he you know, saved her and brought her back to religion and all this stuff, and she's very weird, and she's, you know, the family at different times seems very confused, and you kind of start to wonder too with the daughter, the way that she's writing everything down. Whenever she shows up to the house, she's asking so many questions, she's writing it down. It almost makes you wonder, is she writing it down so she'll remember it later? Like, is she constantly... A theory that people have, which, I mean, it makes sense, is that there's almost like alternate dimensions within this story or something like that, because you have, you know, Charlie and the other Charlie, and you have what you even think is whenever she goes and when she's walking to the neighbors and she comes across that cabin and the old man is there, to me it's very obvious that that old man is Thomas, just because of the mention of a big gash being in his cheek, and then later in the book whenever she hits Thomas in the face with the hammer and she gets the gash in his cheek, just the way it's described, you can tell, like, that's what the scar is, and the way he's hiding his face from her. I just think those details are too specific for that not to be connected and for that to not be Thomas. That being said, I don't know why that Thomas was kind of like kind to her and was trying to sort of warn her what was happening and let her go. I don't know what it means, but yeah, it almost feels like there's alternate dimensions or different things going on, and it's like the daughter was trying to remember things because she finds herself being confused, and now she's in a different dimension. That's my best guess. And then still, like, whenever she ran into that old man and he said the thing about, that's not what they look like, that's not what those people look like, that to me, oh my god, my hair, like, goosebumps, my hair was standing on its end. I was so creeped out. That entire scene, oh my gosh, as soon as she went to go to the neighbors, I was like, something's about to go down. Like, she's left them alone in this house, things are about to get weird. When she gets back, you see her slowly start to kind of descend into madness after that, and then you see the sister, Alice, that's like in the, the hospital gown. Why is there always gotta be a hospital gown? I don't know, when she runs into her in the attic in the hospital gown and she's so creepy, and then she's gaslit into thinking that she wasn't actually there. Still don't know if she was there or not, or who the hell is actually the sister, if Alice was just another pawn in the game and then Thomas drove her insane and now he has to get a new pawn. Like, I don't know if he like feeds off the energy of these people that he ruins their lives. Like, I feel like he's a god of chaos or something. I just truly don't know. And then the whole piece of like there being two different Charlies. Oh my god, whenever they went to that motel, I mean, I should have known. It was one of those thrillers where things kept happening. I'm like, how did you not catch that? Whenever Charlie went in the house to get more things and then she just kind of came out and all was fine, I was like, that was too easy. Okay, I guess they're gonna get away. I guess they're gonna go to the motel. Like, I knew they were somehow gonna end up back at the house, but I did think for the moment they were safe. And when she was freaking in bed with Charlie and then her phone starts to ring, Charlie's phone starts to ring, and it's coming from Eve's phone because her phone has been missing for like half of this book, and it's Charlie. Oh my god. I like literally audibly was like, oh my god, like that's not Charlie, like that's not me. I'm still at the house, like I didn't get out, like you need to run. And then this Charlie, like that's the other Charlie, and this Charlie being so confused and concerned and like seeming truly like devastated, like no, don't leave, what's wrong, are you okay? Like you still now don't know what to believe. And then the whole piece of Charlie's locket, like Charlie has it and then she finds it hanging on the wall, and then she finds the mom wearing it later on. It's like, what is this locket? And then it all comes together when she gets the locket back at the end, and it almost makes you think like there are certain pieces that kind of travel between the dimensions or something. One thing that I just like keep remembering and thinking about is the ants. Like you see a moment where she sees an ant on the wall kind of right at the beginning, like Shiloh's staring at it. It's almost like, I saw someone say this and I am such a Matrix nerd that I'm like, absolutely. It kind of feels like when you see an ant kind of going in a circle or whatever, that's like a glitch in the Matrix or something, because she sees an ant later on at the very end of the book, like once she's in the freaking psych ward and has been convinced that she's insane and her name isn't actually Eve, her name is Emma, which at the very beginning of the story, whenever the family first comes in, the wife calls her Emma and she's like, that's not my name, my name's Eve. Then she gets gaslit into thinking that she's Thomas's sister named Emma and she's insane. I literally don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think, because obviously at the end, you know, she's not completely insane because Thomas gives her the locket back and it is Charlie's locket, like from her story, her reality. So, but you do know, like they say, okay, you dated Charlie, like Charlie was in your life, but you guys broke up years ago. And she's like, no, like I don't remember that. She doesn't remember anything. And now there's all these like theories and Redditors out there that are trying to like prove her story and get her out, and she's trapped. She's trapped in this crazy house. And I still am like, okay, is it the house that's paranormal, or is it just like Thomas? I mean, it must be the house. It must be the house, because she's like going to the basement and there's like a hospital wing down there and things are moving and you don't know what's real. But also the way that the address changed of the house, it was a different address at the end of the story whenever she, you know, is in it and Thomas's family is in it. He says a different address whenever he's calling for the ambulance. So you start to question, like, wait, is she crazy? Like, did she have it wrong? I don't know. And then the neighbor too. The neighbor said that she babysat Thomas growing up. And you know that his sister Alice like stabbed the pin in him all these times, and 30 plus times, whatever. So, I mean, she's another person in the story that makes it seem like this really happened. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen that there are some people that have put like hundreds of hours into like tearing this whole book apart, like writing down notes from every single scene, trying to like connect the dots and figure out what's real. And even in some of those in-between pieces, there's like Morse code that people have taken the time to translate. There's a lot to it, and I don't know that there is like a definite sort of answer, but I am simply an enjoyer of books like this. I am not going to be the person that is going to crack the code. I'm just going to enjoy the roller coaster that it took me on. But that being said, I feel like I just word vomited and this sounded like it made no sense, but that's what the book was, but in the best possible way. So truly, I think it's my favorite. I know it's my favorite thriller I've ever read. Like, it was just the perfect amount of creepy, screw with your mind, kind of supernatural, kind of don't know it's real, still at the end like questioning what I read, if I'm crazy. And yeah, like when you see it come together and you start to realize what those middle pieces are, so good, so good. I cannot recommend it enough. So if you made it to the end of this very rambly, chaotic book review, thank you. If you have any other recommendations for thrillers that are similar whatsoever to this book, I would love to hear them. Please put them in the comments down below. I've seen people saying that House of Leaves is like this book but on steroids. I don't think I'm prepared for that. If you haven't seen that book, it's like a chore to read. There are parts where the pages are like upside down and it's like different words just sprinkled across the page and you have to like do freaking code and put a puzzle together to even read what the book is. I don't think I'm like on the level of all of that. Don't make me work that hard. But books with this type of vibes, I love a creepy house. I love anything like this. Out in the woods, psychological thriller. Like, I want to truly be like, I want my mind to hurt. I want my brain to be splitting in half when I'm reading the book. I want to be creeped out the most I can get. So anyways, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.